Hello, hey, welcome to Time with a K. In this video, we'll be reading the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series. I don't know how long this series is because books keep being published, but I know that a new one is coming out fairly soon. I think it's like in October or November sometime, and I just thought I would make a video binge reading them because I haven't read a lot of the more recent ones, and I'm just interested in seeing what wacky adventures Greg has been up to. I wouldn't say that like I was a person that read Diary of a Wimpy Kid, but I have read a lot of them. I have owned, I think, 2 of them, Double Down as well as The Long Haul. I think I've actually donated them at the time of me filming this. But yeah, I just thought it'd be fun because they're short reads. I'm also graduating high school this year, and I think I want to be nostalgic. So that's what we're doing. Every single time I read a new book, or I read a book in the series, I'll just come back and talk about it. Since the books are written for like a juvenile audience, I don't think it's going to take me that long to read all the books. But yeah, this is going to be more for young Kyler than anything, but yeah. Let's start with the first one, which is, I think, just called Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I'll be back once I finish that. Okay, it is the 2 days after, and I'm sick, if you couldn't tell from my voice. But today I did binge read Diary of a Wimpy Kid by Jeff Kennedy, the first book in the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series, and I thought I'd give you my thoughts about it. I also recently remembered that there are movies that go along with the first couple books, so I think I'll just watch a movie after I finish the book. So now that I finished the first book, I'll watch the first movie, second book, second movie. I'm pretty sure Dog Days is not the third book though, but after I read the book Dog Days, then I watch the movie for Dog Days, and then The Long Haul, of course, as well. But yeah, I just wrote a few notes. I really enjoyed my time. I was really smiling basically the entire time I was reading it because it really personifies nostalgia for me. Like, it is such a series that's near and dear to my heart. Like, I remember basically every single thing that happened in the book, but that didn't make my reading experience less enjoyable. First of all, I guess because there aren't like that many words on the page, and there are also comics or drawings that separate the text, which is always very helpful. It doesn't read like a book because it basically just talks about different scenarios that Greg finds himself in. Like, there isn't that much of a narrative. Like, there isn't like a cliche freight tax pyramid like there's in a rising action, then a climax, and a falling. Like, it's just, he's just living life, and it's really cool. Any other notes? Yeah, Greg is not even that good of a character. He's like maybe not narcissistic, but like he only thinks about himself, which I think is kind of truer to more people than most people would admit. I feel like all of us we care a lot about ourselves, I'd say, and Greg is just like everyone else. There's nothing that cool or great about his life. He's just living through it. I'm just really excited to actually watch the movie because I remember the movie being pretty funny, and I'm excited to see some of the scenes. But yeah, like, I don't think there'll ever be a day in my life, or like a time in my life where I wouldn't be able to remember like every single character in this book. Like, somehow I remember every single person's name. I guess not the parents' names, but like I always remember Manny and Fregley and Rodrick. Like, they're all so memorable characters. And although like it's a middle school novel, like all these characters are like actual people. They seem like actual people. It also seems very conversational, I guess, merely because it is like a diary. He's just writing to himself. And yeah, those are all my notes. I don't want to make this too long, this part specifically too long, because I'm going to be having to film a video for every single book / movie I watch, book I read / movie I watch. So yeah, thank you for watching. What's interesting in this case, and I guess the second book, is that there are actually 2 movies, because there's one that released, which is live action, starring, what's his name, Zachary Gordon, and there's also like an animated one that went on Disney Plus recently. So I guess I can watch both of them. I have watched the live action one, but I haven't watched the animated. But I'll be back like after I watch. I'm going to watch the live action first, I think. But yeah, I will see you after I watch that. I was tempted to continue reading because I just wanted to figure out what happened next, but I stopped myself. So yeah, I gotta watch the movie as soon as possible because I just honestly just want to continue reading the series. It's just really fun. Also, yeah, it doesn't take that much thinking in order to like understand what's happening in the book, and I'm reading like tough texts, like material wise, while reading this book. So it's nice to have like the range. Yeah. Hi, I'm still sick because it's only the day after. But I watched a live action movie and I want to talk about it. Its runtime is an hour and 30 minutes. I think it was released in 2010, if my memory is correct. I searched it up yesterday, but I'm too lazy to search it up now. I remember this movie so much. Like, I feel like every single scene I remember, and every single scene is honestly just iconic. It's just hilarious, and it's so cool, and it's so great. I'm thinking of releasing a lot of TikToks about this video, just because it's so long, it's going to take so much of my time. Might as well try to ask people to watch it. And I think a lot of the movie has a lot of opportunities for TikToks, I guess, if that makes sense. I also feel like it's kind of funny that there are high schoolers in this book, and the high schoolers are all like really mean people. Like they're known as being mean people. I don't think I'm that mean, but I just yeah, high school portrayal is like, I guess this is the first time that I've watched a movie where I've been closer to the age of the high schoolers than the middle schoolers, so that's kind of funny. I feel like also in the movie he is a bit of a meaner person, just because we get that inner, like, it's, I guess the book is entirely in his perspective as well. We just get voiceovers like pretty frequently, and the majority of them are just him saying, I'm gonna do this for my own personal gain, but I'm gonna twist it and trick my mind into thinking that I'm doing it for others. Like, he's not a good person. He is a Greg, that is. I think it's kind of funny to look at all the green screen work, because a lot of it is like painfully obvious. Like the cheese, it does not look real at all. Although I did really like how randomly through the movie they just showed how the cheese has been changing. I think it's actually interesting the way that they did the green screen, because it kind of, I like it because it kind of blurs the line, I guess, between reality and like him writing the stuff in his notebook. Just because like there are not a lot of times, but there's some times when like there's a background which is like a green screen, but the actors are real. I don't know. It's interesting, and it kind of makes me remember that it's a book and not real life. As I mentioned before, I remember like every single scene of this movie. I also remember specific lines, and near the beginning of the movie, more than ever, I also remembered seeing the teaser for it on Disney Channel, like before it played. One Disney Channel would just randomly show movies on their channel, and I remember like the specific specific clips that Disney Channel would show. Yeah, this is literally so accurate as well. Like, I searched it up, and Jeff Kenny at least wasn't involved in the areas that I researched on. I didn't really research. I searched up the movie, and I just saw that he wasn't the director or he wasn't in charge of the screenplay, nor he wasn't a producer, and nothing like that. But this is like, it's so it stays so true to the book. It deletes a few things, but like nothing really memorable. And also, since this doesn't have like that much of a plot in terms of, as I mentioned, or like the Freytag's pyramid, like you can't really miss anything. And it also just adds things like, for example, the mother son dance was not at all in the book. And honestly, I don't really understand why it was in the movie either. It was just kind of a random moment. But I guess that is, like, I'm kind of being contradictory, because that, I think, is what I enjoy most about the series. It's not, I'm not reading it for, like, a good plot. I'm reading it for, like, an enjoyable, fun time. Along the same lines of that, I've decided that I'm not going to be taking notes on the series, at least not, like, notes, like I would on a lot of other books that I'm reading right now. My point is, I'm reading this for enjoyment more than anything, and I'm making this video for enjoyment more than anything. So the first movie was released on March 19, 2010. That's funny. 10 years and a week I think. I'm pretty sure if that's math before the COVID-19 pandemic. That's cool. Not really. Cool is not the word. It actually is interesting to me, like, how much credit an author gets if their work is, like, adapted. Like, obviously, I'm sure they get money from the movie, I hope. Like, you have to get permission. Like, you have to get the rights, I guess. So maybe the money is just in getting the rights, perhaps. Patty Farrell has more of a prominent role in this movie, more than in the book. My favorite line of hers is when she says, one day I think they're auditioning for the musical. I know they're auditioning for the musical, and she's like, don't let me come over there and beat you up like I did in kindergarten and 4th grade. She's just so funny. Everybody in this movie is so funny. I can't imagine a movie like coming out in this day and age starring like such young people. Like, it's actually shot in middle school. I guess a lot of like when we see like old people playing teenagers, it's mostly in the high school setting in like TV shows. But yeah, like you don't really see a lot of movies taking place in middle school in general in this day and age. So yeah, escapism is the common theme. And yeah, I also really like the ending. It's Diary of a Wimpy Kid. This came out, the first book came out when? I know the first movie came out in 2010, so that is like 13 years ago. But when did the first book come out? 2007. Wow, I was 1 when the first book came out. I feel like you've read it. I feel like you've read it. I feel like you're going to click on this video if you just want to hear thoughts about it because you've read it and you enjoy the series. So I'm going to go ahead and spoil it. I'm going to go ahead and talk about the plot points. Not like in vicious detail. But basically, at the end of the movie, Greg confesses, or he lies, and says that he ate the cheese. And he says, just to show how I guess silly everything is in terms of like middle school in general as a concept. And then he's like, so who's with me? Stand with me if you think middle school is a construct. And then Patty's like, he got the cheese shot, and then everyone runs away with him. And I feel like that's really, it's funny looking back and seeing how people acted. I feel like, I mean, it's obviously not like, it's not a real life story, but I feel like that this thing would kind of happen. It's just like, it's funny that he goes on this whole rant about all this being fake, and then they jump right into the fakeness of it all. I feel like there's some comfort in that, honestly, but that's another video discussion. Anything else? I'm intrigued by the animated version of the first one. Like, when it first came out, I was not, like, extremely pulled to it, and I haven't watched it since it came out, so this is going to be a new movie for me. But I've heard that it's good-ish. I mean, it must have been kind of good if they really made an animated for the second one as well, Rodrick rules. So, yeah. I also wonder if it's going to be exactly the same as live action, or if they're going to like change the order of scenes. And I guess they have to change the screenplay, right? I don't know if it's the same people involved. I don't know squat. You know what I do know? I don't want to make this video too long, because I'm literally talking about like what, they're like 18 books at this point, so bye. Alright, hey, I am back. It's the next day. And I watched the animated Diary of a Wimpy Kid today. And hands down I can say this is the worst Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie I've ever watched. And I actually hesitate in saying that because it's not even a movie. It's only 59 minutes. I guess I didn't really feel the length, but like, yeah, just, I guess I was basically just watching the live action, except less things were happening, and it looks less cool, and it was less iconic. What's actually interesting about this is that Jeff Kennedy actually wrote the script as well as produced it, and he had, like, no involvement, at least to my knowledge, in the live action movie, which is interesting, because I like the live action movie more. I think a big part of this is, like, it just relatability, having actual actors, playing the characters, just seeing their mannerisms or whatever. Like the actors' mannerisms and the characters' mannerisms a bit more. You can see a bit more in the live action, I feel like. So yeah, that's a big part of it. The two standouts, at least in terms of voice roles, I would say, are the mom and Fregley's. The Fregley voice sounded exactly like the live action. Another big change, as I said, is that it's animated, but it's animated to look quite similar to like the drawings in the book, which I thought might be kind of cool, but I just don't really like. I just don't like how they look. I think it was kind of trying to be Captain Underpants the movie, which I did enjoy, and it just wasn't. Rodrick barely had a part, and when he was like supporting Greg and just telling him get rid of Rowley. Like he's not mean. He's just like he's just a big brother. Especially near the beginning, there's lots of music as well, just like background music, which I didn't really like. Just going through my notes for this one. This is kind of random, but there's like a lot of background chatter from a lot of like supporting actors or people who we barely even see. Like we don't even know the names of, besides I guess like 3 of them. And they're just commenting on like the action happening, and just like weird, like it's not realistic. People don't comment on what other people do, at least in my experience. Like if I'm walking in a hall, or when I'm trying to get a seat in the cafeteria, I ask one table, and then another table doesn't say, that kid is such a loser. Greg also as a character is not as conceited, and he's nicer to Rowley. I feel like also like the main conflict in this, I want to say short film, but it was 59 minutes, was just him and Rowley's relationship. Since we had so little time, the creative team just decided to focus on Rowley and his relationship, and like we didn't really get a lot of time with him by himself. Like obviously like Rowley's like a supporting character, maybe a main character in the books, but like it just seemed like it seemed a lot. It was only Rowley and Greg basically, and I feel like in the book we get a bit of time without Rowley. Rowley as a character also seems a bit more just naive in general, like he just believes what Greg says. Well, in live action I feel like he has his own conscience, but he decides to follow Greg or trust in Greg more often than not. Also Patty Farrell, who's arguably my favorite character in the first movie, is nowhere to be seen. She's mentioned once and she's not even seen. Another like character, the character of, I can't even remember her name, but the person that like is under the bleachers when they first meet her, she's not a character at all. However, Shirag Gupta, who is in the first book as well, it's live action, played a minor role. He was the person that Rowley randomly became friends with. So yeah. So at the end of the day, the only thing I would say I like about it is that it's more diverse. There are more non-white people. Not that they talk, where we actually see their faces. They only do need this background chatter. So yeah, I'm sorry. This is definitely like, it's a hate review more than anything. But I just wanted to watch this so I could start reading Rodrick Rules. So that's what I'm gonna do probably tomorrow. So yeah. If I binge it, I binge it. I mean, it didn't take me that long to read the first one, like maybe 2 hours at tops. So I don't know if it'll take me that long for the second one, but I'll see when I see it. Okay, I am back with my thoughts about Rodrick Rules. I haven't watched the movie Before You Ask, nor the like animated thing. Joshi is the person that Rowley admires. He's like a European pop star. He's mentioned, or he's introduced in the first movie, but he's first introduced in the second book. And then also another thing was Bill, who is like the old person in Rodrick's band. I think he's like 30 something, and I forgot about him, but now I remember him. It's just like, I remember so much of it, so like I haven't been surprised thus far about the content, but I think that's what makes the whole entire thing even more enjoyable. I don't have to like go through plot twists. It's just like straightforward. I know what's gonna happen. It's just really cool, and I'm excited to watch the second movie. Yeah, I don't really have that many thoughts about it. I would say that this was a little less iconic than Diary of a Wimpy Kid, the original. But yeah, it's also interesting, like the title in general, because it doesn't even spend that much time on Rodrick. Like it does, like we have more time with him comparatively to the first book, but it's not like only Kim and Rodrick doing stuff. So just an interesting title in general. But yeah, I'm pretty sure those are all my thoughts. I'm going to try to watch over a video that I want to post today, which is my October wrap-up. It'll be out by the time of me releasing this video, so gotta go rewatch that before publishing it. Alright, hi, this is going to be my rapid fire thoughts about Rodrick Rule's live action movie. It was good. I would say it's a little less iconic than the first movie, only because every scene in the first movie is iconic, whereas every other scene in this movie is iconic. But yeah, I really appreciate how in this movie Rodrick and Greg's relationship is kind of in the forefront, while in the book it just seemed like kind of like just like the first book, Diary of a Wimpy Kid. We saw some scenes with Rodrick, but like he wasn't the main focus, and he literally has a name. He literally has a book named after him. I really appreciate like the family in this story. I just like every single part. I feel like is casted perfectly. Was cast perfectly. Like I can just imagine them as a family. And also I appreciate the role that the mom had in this movie, which is an increased role from the first one, because she's just a cool character. I mean, she's a mom. She has to be cool. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but yeah, I just appreciate how she had a bigger role. It was fun to watch, and I feel like this was a little less random than the first movie in terms of like the different things that were happening. There's kind of like a climax, like a time when all hopes were lost. It was a bit more structured in terms of its like plot plot structure. That's how it gets the name, I guess. I need to watch the Rodrick Rules animated, which I'm not looking forward to watching, considering how little I liked the animated Diary of a Wimpy Kid, but whatever. This is the first movie with Holly Hills, who I don't think is introduced in the second book, although I could be wrong. Yeah, and that's played by Emma from Jessie, so now we have 2 of the 4 Jessie kids in the franchise. I also appreciate how Chirag Gupta is just a character that's there. Like in the first scene, he just creeps up on them in the roller ring, and then he starts telling them all about Holly Hills. Like he's kind of like a plot device, and he doesn't we don't know that much about him. Oh, I also appreciated a specific shot. Speaking of Chirag, when they are in the lunchroom, and they're seated at lunch tables, and Greg eats a hot dog, or a corn dog that Chirag is holding, and everyone starts laughing, and then we can see a shot of 3 people sitting on the floor next to the trash bins, who appear like Greg, Rowley, and Fregley, but they're like the new Greg, Rowley, and Fregley, because now they're 7th graders, the real Greg, Rowley, and Fregley, and these new people who, like, Fregley still has red hair and glasses, and then, like, Greg and Rowley have, like, the same hair colors. Like, they've been replaced, kind of, which is, I really like that shot. This is also one of the few movies that I remember having on DVD. Like, I have all 3 of the movies. He's a kid. Like, there isn't anything, like, that makes him special or something, which I feel like is very commonplace these days in books. I don't know. But although I'm not sure I'd really agree with the description of wimpy, because it's called Diary of a Wimpy Kid, but I don't think he's really a wimpy kid, which is funny. But it sounds good, it rolls off the tongue, so it's fine. I also like how nothing seems to be going according to plan for him. He's just, he has something he wants to achieve, and then most of the time it just doesn't work, but he just keeps on going. Like, he's living his life, he doesn't really have like that many goals. It's just nice because in this time of my life, I have to be thinking a lot about the future, and Greg carefully gets the luxury of living in the present, and I love vicariously living through him. I also really like the score. Dun 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 dun, and that plays, and I dun 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 dun, and I'm pretty sure that's like a harmonica that plays that sometimes too. It's like it switches between the piano and harmonica, I feel like, and yeah, that's cool as well. Yeah. Also, Memory, when Patty Farrell sings Memory on the talent show stage. It's so funny how many times I watched that scene without knowing that that song was from Cats. But yeah, Patty Farrell as a character is also like, I just really like her as a character. Another change that I just thought of, Scotty, who is the person that Riley does the magic, is supposed to do the magic show with in the second movie. He shows up for the first time in the movie franchise in this movie. Well, in the book series, he's a person that Riley becomes friends with, I'm pretty sure. And then Greg gets jealous and then becomes friends with Fregley. I think that's him. In the movie, they're like two different characters. And also the little girl that shows up at the beginning in the ice rink, skating rink. There it is. And then she shows up later at the church. She just shows up, and I'm pretty sure it's the same person that sees Greg at the pool in Dog Days as well. So yeah, I just feel like I appreciate because it's like such a small cast of characters as well. You know, I gravitates towards those more than like large casts. I feel like, yeah, okay. This was supposed to be shorter. Sorry to myself. I hope you don't mind. You would have stopped if you minded. If you minded. Not sure. Hi. Okay. This isn't an update because it's the weekday and I don't watch TV on the weekdays. But I just found out earlier today that there is another animated Diary of Wimpy coming for the third book. I'm pretty sure it's the third book. I think it'd make sense if it was the third book. Cabin Fever. The animated version of Cabin Fever is coming out. But it's not that bad because there's not a live action Cabin Fever movie. So at least I don't have to be watching like two similar movies. But yeah, the next step, as you know, is I have to watch the Rodrick Rules animated. But again, it's the week. I don't watch during the weekdays, so I'll have to wait until the weekend. But yeah, I just thought I'd let you know about that. I wasn't surprised, but I was like, oh, you know, you get it if you get it. Hi, I got a haircut, as you probably know, but I just wanted to hop on here real quick to tell you about a recent development, which basically is the reason I started this video. I got the newest Diary of a Wimpy Kid book for Black Friday. It was 50% off at my local Barnes & Noble, so I just got it. It's called No Brainer. I have no idea what it's about. I also still haven't finished the animated Rodrick Rules, so I hope to finish that like really soon, and then I can just keep reading the books. So yeah. Just wanted to talk about that recent development because that's the reason why I started this video, to read eventually No Brainer. So I hope to read that like soon-ish. Hello, I should have made this video earlier, but I just didn't want to, so that's why I didn't. I'm sick, you can probably hear, that's why I'm wearing like 3 layers right now. And also why my voice sounds like this, a little deeper, but I'll be talking about the animated Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Rodrick Rules. I finally finished it. It took me like 4 sit-downs because I just been unmotivated because I have not been enjoying this movie. Let's get it right off the bat. Right off the bat, let's say it's not as good as live action. It's definitely not. And what's also interesting about this one is that they made a lot of changes. It's interesting how they're making like the same movie, but one is animated and one is live action. I wonder if they can't make it too similar to the live action. That's why there's so many changes. But I will say I don't think any of the changes like made it worse. It was just like kind of a different movie. What's one change? I guess the way that the parents, Rodrick and Greg's parents, found out about the party they had, that was changed. I don't think Greg ever actually got to experience the party. I may be wrong about that. I literally just can't remember. Holly Hills is not a character at all. There are just a lot of different changes, but now let's go into a little more specific notes. It's not that many. I don't like the animation. It's really trying to be very similar to the drawings in the book, and I don't like how it looks like. It kind of looks like clay, or like, it's not a side of animation that I'm used to, like in the Diary of a Wimpy Kid animated series. That's like, they're like 3-dimensional, but like they look weird. I guess because there are a lot of organic, that may be the word, or maybe geometric, I don't take an art class, shapes. Like their heads are literally circles and their like nose are literally circles. It stays very true to the illustrations in the book, and it just doesn't translate as well, I don't think. And also at the end when the mom is dancing on the stage, it kind of reminded me of Sid the Science Kid when the mom is dropping off Sid at school or whenever she dances. So yeah, I actually feel like that animation is a bit similar to this one, but I definitely like Sid the Science Kid more. Like, they don't look that similar actually. They look a bit, yeah. They have more like substance to their animation than this one, which kind of sounds mean when I say it out loud. Oops. Those are all the notes I had. I've just been wanting, like, it's interesting. I've wanted to film this video, as in I've wanted to finish the animated so I can go on to the series, continue the series, but I just haven't wanted to as well. But now that I have, I can read the next book. I believe it's Cabin Fever. As I mentioned before, Cabin Fever is coming out with an animated, so should I wait until that comes out to, let me see, I don't want to slow myself down just because of a movie that isn't even going to come out soon. Let me see. Hey, it says Diary of a Wimpy Kid Christmas Cabin Fever. Interesting. It's December 8th. Okay, it's like in a week. I can do that. Maybe I'll just watch it on opening night and I'll just talk about it that day. I guess that works. Okay, cool. Thanks for watching. We're not almost done. But we'll get through it. It'll start getting quicker and quicker once I'm done with all the movie adaptations, and I can just read the books like one a day or two a day or something. And yeah, also winter break is kind of coming up, so I'll also have more time because of that. I'll see you soonish. Not sure when. Bye. Hi, okay, so I'm back, and this is going to be a little bit of a different video, or different clip in this long video, because I've actually read two books. I read Last Straw as well as Dog Days, so I'll be talking about both of them. We'll start off with Last Straw. I know I said I wasn't going to take notes, at least I'm pretty sure I did, but they're pretty minimal, like 4 bullets. I think so far this is the least memorable Diary of a Wimpy Kid book for me, and probably a lot of the reason why that is because there's not a movie for it. It's interesting, they made a movie into the first book, the second book, they skipped the third book, which is Last Straw, and then they went to Dog Days and they made a movie about that. It's kind of weird. So yeah, although there weren't a lot of scenes that I actually remembered from this book, every scene made me smile because, again, it's just nostalgic and it's really low stress, the series, so easy to comprehend as well. But there is a scene that actually happened in the movie of Rodrick Rules where they go to church and Greg gets like a stain on his pants from chocolate, but it kind of looks like something else. I'll always remember the scene from the movie when he's like, "It's chocolate, see?" And he also uses his mom's sweater originally to cover it up. But in this one, Rodrick doesn't like pull the sweater down, so he just uses his mom's sweater for the entire scene. So basically, in the second movie, Greg goes to visit his grandfather with Rodrick, and Rodrick locks him outside of their door. But in this book, Last Straw, he does that. He goes to his grandpa's and then he gets locked outside. It may not actually be his grandpa. It may be like a hotel, but he can't remember the hotel room number. Yeah, I think that's what happens. But yeah, just like a random scene, I don't know. I feel like it makes more sense in the context of the movie. Something that they have to think about. I feel like more of the movies is like what our main conflict is going to be. Well, in this book, I feel like it's mostly just slice of life. Like things do like pile up on each other, but also I feel like you can read any book in the series and like understand everything because like they set some context and it's like enough because there isn't like a really continuing storyline, at least like between books, I'd say. And then also another scene that was actually in Roger Rose as well is Holly Hills at the roller rink. That's actually how it starts. That's how the second movie starts. They're at the roller rink. But in this one, it's like in the latter part of the book, he just goes to the roller rink and he sees Holly Hills. Another change is that Holly Hills doesn't really think that much about him in this one. In the movie, she's like kind. I mean, they only talk like once, but at least she's kind. But in this one, I'm pretty sure at the end of Last Straw, she writes in his yearbook. I think I took a screenshot, so I'll put it on the page. Or maybe I made it a story on my Instagram, which you should definitely follow. Let me try to find it now, just in case I forget. Yep, there it is. Okay, so I'll put it to the end of the screen right now. It's really funny, and especially comparing it to what she wrote in Rowley's book. It kind of reminds me of Patty at the end of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, the first movie, how like different she thinks of Rowley than Greg. But yeah, and those are all of my notes. So yes, I can't remember when I started it, but I finished it yesterday. And then Dog Days I read from yesterday to today. Let me pull up my notes for that. What's interesting about this one is that it kicks off right at the end of The Last Straw. Basically, The Last Straw, Greg is going on summer vacation at the end of it, and then Dog Days starts in his summer vacation. And this is the first book that follows him entirely during the summer. He doesn't go to school in this entire book. In the movie, they watch a movie, Rowley and Greg. I think it's called The Foot. I'm not sure which movie it is in, either the first or second one. But in Dog Days, in the book, they watch a movie called The Hand. It's like a muddy hand that is not attached to any limbs, such as the foot isn't attached to any limbs in the movie, and they're scared of that. I'm pretty sure this is how the movie starts, Dog Days, when they're at the swimming pool, and the girl, who plays one of the main characters in On Squad, the PBS TV show, at least he used to, I don't think she does anymore, instead of the girl, like, coaxing him off the diving board, Rodrick pushes him off in this book. Rowley and Greg are actually like not friends for the majority of this book. I think I can't remember the exact plot point which made them kind of stop being friends, but yeah, I guess it was they have like some kind of lawn mowing. Yeah, they have a lawn mowing service, and Greg doesn't do anything, and Rowley basically has to do all the work. And I think after that, Rowley just creates some distance between him and Greg. And yeah, for the majority of this book, I'd say I'm pretty sure they just aren't really friends, which is something I didn't remember actually ever happening. So I like the portrayal of their friendship more in the movies, specifically because we kind of see Rowley as he like realizes that Greg is not that good of a friend to him. Sometimes he says it like explicitly, and sometimes it's just like in the change, like his face. An example of this is in the first movie when they're working on the comic strip for the middle school. And Greg is like, he doesn't like Zooey Mama, which is Rowley's idea. And then Greg has like another idea, and Rowley's like, I'm not sure I like that one. And then Greg is like, well, why don't you work on Zooey Mama by yourself? And he's like, okay, bye. Like he's such a nice, awesome, friendly kid. That's the name of the book. That's the name of his book. But yeah, he is like, he knows his worth, more or less. I appreciate how Rowley, the actor who plays Rowley, I think it's Robert something, C is coming to me, Robert C, just portrays him. I really like it. I'm kind of bummed out because this is the movie that I'm going to watch next for the series, which is Dog Days, is the very last movie that I'll be watching, live action movie that I'll be watching for this video, because it's the only live action left. With the original cast, of course, we have The Long Haul, which we'll get to way later. I think it's like the 9th book or something, and they didn't make a movie for that, but that's a different cast. So yeah, Dog Days is the last movie that they made together. Robert Capron is the Rowley Jefferson's actor's name. But yeah, I'm just really enjoying the series. I really like how low stress, and I can speed through them and add a list to the books I read in December and not have to really work for it, so that's cool. I'll be back. I just wanted to check in. Now I will be watching the Dog Days movie. I hope to watch it pretty soon, and just continue on with the series. So yeah, I think we'll be going faster through the books. At least the space between me filming videos will be less because we don't have that many movies to watch. I know Cabin Fever actually came out. The movie for that, the animated, came out on Friday. It is Sunday now, so I'm gonna have to watch that. But I'm not sure what number the series Cabin Fever is, but yeah, so after I read the Cabin Fever book, I'll watch that animated, and then I think I'll just be home free reading lots of books, and then until The Long Haul. So yeah, that's a bit about what's coming, but yeah, thanks for watching. I will see you. I hope this video isn't too long. I may have to split it up into 2 parts, because yeah, lots of books that we're covering. Hi, I'm back with my review or discussion of Dog Days, the movie. This is the last movie with the original cast of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid movies. I think this may be the most iconic of all of them. I remember the most scenes, I remember specific lines, such as 15 love, and then Greg says, whatever you say, love. What's another example? I don't know, like the whole entire sequence when Greg is hanging out with Riley at the not country club, at the like boardwalk. It's just like really cool. I remember distinctively when I was younger wondering why there were numbers on the little spin thing that they're using for the game I Love You Because. It's never like explained. I don't understand the purpose. I don't think the numbers mean anything. But yeah. Yeah, I really like this movie, and it's a very nice last movie. Although it was very different than the book. The scenes are a lot out of order. Although I will say the ending wasn't as satisfying as I wanted it to be. It was basically just like an animated sequence of kind of a flashback from that same movie. It was just not good. I didn't think it was satisfying, and also like Holly held Greg's hand at the end, which I also don't like because like they don't get together, at least in my knowledge in the books. So yeah, I don't like that either. Maybe I don't mind it, but it's just different. I also appreciate how every movie kind of seems to be focused on a specific relationship in Greg's life. The first one I feel like is mostly Rowley. The second one is Rodrick, and this one is his dad. I wish we had a mom movie. I feel like the mom is like the constant, and like she's always helping everyone like get together, as in like build their relationships. But still, I feel like it'd be cool to have a mom only book. I know like the book later in the series is called Diaper Overload, and Roderick's band is called Loaded Diaper, so I'm not sure if that's another Rodrick book. You can't even tell by the titles of these things, like Dog Days. Oh, I guess it's because he has a dog. That makes sense. Rodrick Rules, it's because of the drawing on the door. The Last Straw. I can't even remember what that was about, and I've already read it. That's not good. That's not a good sign. What was The Last Straw? I can't remember. And then Diary of a Wimpy Kid is just like the first book. So I guess the titles do mean something, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like what I appreciate about the series is that it's very like, not very, but semi-slice of life. Like he's just going through different scenarios, going through his life. So like there isn't like a main conflict that's discussed like all of the time. But yeah, those are all my thoughts. I don't want to make this too long because I haven't even started editing, and it's getting long. I hope to release this as soon as possible in 2024. It's not going to be a 2023 video, I don't think. I'm also, the next video I'm filming is me talking about the books I want to read during winter break, and best case scenario, I would be done with all the books before winter break. And I know I only have like a week left, but I think I can do it because the books are short. We'll see. Alright, cool. I'll see you later. I can't even remember what the next book is, if I'm being honest. Let me search it up. The website, the official website, has like I don't know how to describe it, but has like cheese as like a main. Just look at it. I know it's confusing now, but I think you'll understand if you look. Okay, no, The Ugly Truth is after Dog Days, then Cabin Fever, Third Wheel, Hard Luck, Long Call, Old School, Double Down, The Getaway, The Meltdown, Wrecking Ball, Big Shot, No Brainer. I kind of forgot about Big Shot even existing. That does not look like a title I actually recognize. Okay. I have read all up to, I believe, Double Down. I'm not sure if I ever finished The Getaway, but I feel like I may have read The Meltdown. We'll see. Okay. Cool. So next is The Ugly Truth. I'll try to just finish it today, and we'll go from there. Hello, hey, nope. I already started this video, sorry. We're talking about The Ugly Truth. And this book is way different than I remembered it, because I didn't really remember it. The first couple of books in the series, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Rodrick Rules, Dog Days, and The Last Straw, I can probably name by name if you were to ask me, but like The Ugly Truth, I probably couldn't. I don't know why that's the case, but for some reason I just remembered it less, and I'm glad I remembered it less because I ended up, I feel like, enjoying it more because of that fact. I just feel like this is a bit less happy or just like random kind of. He's talking about like real things that I can relate to, like expectations that his parents have for him. To show you how much this book made an impact on me, I actually liked a screenshot that I took from the book. It says, "See, when you're a little kid, nobody ever warns you that you've got an expiration date. One day you're hot stuff, and the next day you're a dirt sandwich." And honestly, sometimes I don't feel like a dirt sandwich, but I feel like I miss the old days. I actually quite recently wrote a song. It wasn't because of The Ugly Truth, it was before, but it's called Broadway. I don't want to share that much of it, but like the chorus, I was not expecting to do this. I didn't even like, starting this video I did not, okay. So it goes like, I miss me, the one who got all M's and E's, the person that every Tuesday and Thursday would visit the library. That's all I'll play of it, but sad lyric kind of, or at least like nostalgic lyrics. Sometimes I miss me. I miss the person I used to be, the young, naive, middle school / elementary version of myself, because like, mentally it's definitely gone a little downhill, unfortunately, for me. But separation of channel and self, Kyler. Okay, another big change. I don't even know for what reason, but at the beginning of this book, Rowley and Greg are not friends anymore. So that's also like a new development, which has never happened. I guess at the beginning of Dog Days, they weren't really friends, but like at the beginning of this book, they're like, he was like, really, I'm not friends with Rowley anymore. And we barely see Rowley throughout this whole entire book. Maybe something was going on in Mr. Kenny's life when he wrote that too. I think that'd be interesting. Like, what makes him think of these different scenarios his characters get into. Took some screenshots. It was just as funny. It was like maybe not as memorable, at least before I read it, but now I feel like I'll remember it more. And like, what is the ugly truth? That's a great question. I don't know. I guess that youth doesn't last forever. I guess that's the ugly truth. There's like a whole subplot where Rowley gets a pimple and he thinks that he's so cool now. I think that's in this book. I actually, in full transparency, actually started the next book, which is Cabin Fever. But I'm pretty so it may be a plot in Cabin Fever about the pimple, but I'm pretty sure it is. It is. Yeah, I think it's in The Ugly Truth actually. So yeah, like it's The Ugly Truth is a lot about growing up. So that's definitely something I can relate to. I'm literally a senior in high school, so thinking a lot about my future. I'm also enjoying the Cabin Fever, if you're wondering, because it's like in the Christmas. It takes place in the Christmas season, and I'm in the Christmas season right now. I'm filming this on December 20th, so yeah. I hope I finish this video soon-ish. Definitely before I graduate. Like there aren't that many books left. I only have like I guess one movie at the time of me filming this to watch until I can just like binge read the books. Have I ranked? I can't remember. Have I ranked them? Have I ranked the books up to this point? I may have, and then I may have forgotten for the last couple of books. This is what, the 5th one? Maybe let's not rank them. Let's just choose like a top 3 favorite and top 3 least favorite one, all said and done. But yeah, this is definitely a contender for like the 3rd spot or the 2nd spot of favorites. But yeah, thanks for getting this far in the video. Speaking of, I need to get started editing it because I still haven't started. But that's a problem for Kyler after filming. So I'll see you later. Hi. So it is a day later, and I finished the book I was reading. What is it called? Cabin Fever. My favorite book. My favorite part about this book was that it was set in the Christmas season, because Christmas is only 4 days away at the time of me filming it. Everything else, kind of not memorable. I can only think of like one plot point that happened in this book, and that plot point is the one that happened at the very end of the book. It's just like, I don't know. I could say it's because I read it too fast, but like The Ugly Truth, I'm pretty sure I read in 2 days as well, but I enjoyed it more than this one. That's pretty funny. The last time I filmed for this video, as in yesterday, the Christmas lights also came, like, turned on while I was filming. So it's been about 24 hours since I filmed this video. But anyway, yeah, I thought it was, I just realized it's interesting how I can remember like the earlier books more than the later books in the series, even though it's been a while since I read the earlier books, and if I read them in order, chances are I read like the latter books more recently than the earlier books, if that makes sense. But yeah, I don't know. I don't want to say that I didn't enjoy this book. It's just like I enjoyed it the least out of all the books so far, I want to say. So yeah, that's it for this. I'm gonna watch the animated, hopefully tomorrow, animated Cabin Fever, and then we're just gonna be binging because we don't have any other animated movies or live action to watch. I guess until the long haul, but that's in a couple books. So yeah, I'll see you. Bye. Hi. So I watched the Cabin Fever movie thing. I don't even know what it's called, like Cabin Fever Christmas or Diary Wimpy, something like that. It took me like, I guess, 3 days and all. I just watched it in like 3 different segments. The last segment was the longest one. It was like 50 minutes, and I just like got the movie started, but I never like got into it 2 times. I'm also filming this side note on January 1st, so this is, I guess, the very first clip I'm filming for the YouTube channel in the new year, which is pretty cool. But anyway, yeah, it was fine. I appreciate, I guess, that there was like some kind of lesson in it. It wasn't just like random events. There was more of a centered story, and Greg ended up learning something from his experiences, which is cool, but it is definitely not similar to the book in any way. If I'm being honest, I can't really remember the book that much, but I'm pretty sure a big snowball never happened, and they never like broke a snowplow, so yeah. I don't even know what the next book is. But also, another side note, before I finish this video, because I don't really have anything, or at least that much to say, I am filming with a Christmas present that I got, which is basically like a ring light, which you can attach to right to the camera instead of like a detached ring light. So I'll probably be using this in future videos. You don't see that annoying circle in my eyes, and I think it looks pretty bright. So yeah, I hope this video will come out soon. Like maybe March, I want to say, of this year, because I mean, it'll probably take me like, if I really stuck to, I could probably finish the rest of the series in like January, but I don't want to commit to that, so like March at latest this video will come out. But yeah, okay, we are here for the third wheel. What's interesting about the third wheel is it kind of spoils the book in the title, because at the end, or let me preface with saying, through the entire book, which is kind of different than any other book, there's like one main plot point, which is basically Greg is trying to find a date to a dance. He ends up finding someone to go with, and then at the near the end of the book, it's revealed that that person ends up dating his best friend Riley. Also, Riley kind of takes a backseat in this book. I feel like he wasn't mentioned until like the halfway point of the book as well. So it's kind of cool just seeing Greg by himself, trying to find, I guess, someone to go to the dance with. So yeah, as I said before, this is different than any other book because there's like a main motivation, while in the other books I feel like there are like more than one plot point, or he's just like living life. But this one, it's focused on love, I guess. It's also interesting, I could maybe even reread this series, not like now, but eventually again with the lens of how the writing or how the different themes have changed throughout the books, or like the writing style as well. I think that'd be interesting, but it has been kind of a while since I read a Diary of a Wimpy book. At least it feels like that. The last one I read was obviously Cabin Fever. I can actually look up the exact date that I finished it on. So I finished Cabin Fever on December 21st. So it's been like, I guess, 2 weeks about, which is kind of long-ish. But I just found myself laughing so hard at this, maybe because I just wanted to laugh because I needed that release kind of, and Diary of a Wimpy Kid just like provided that for me, or maybe I was just looking for an excuse. But yeah, this was pretty funny, as are all the books, but yeah, this one was pretty funny. Those are all the notes that I have. So we're gonna go on. I already got the next book in the series. No, it's not called The Ugly Truth. Hard Luck on Libby. So I'll be reading it. Probably starting tomorrow. It's kind of late now, and I'm trying to start this new year off right by going to bed like earlier than usual. So, yeah. I'll see you after I finish Hard Luck. I really like the cover of this. It's kind of like different, I feel like, than the others. There's like something else, I guess, just besides just him on the cover. So yeah, alright. Well, I guess other books have also had things additional to him. Yeah, it's just really cool. The graphics of this book really help, I feel like, make it into one of my like most beloved, I guess, book series, because it's just so unique. But it's like really, I hope this isn't offending anyone, like simplistic in nature. There are only like a couple of characters. I guess they're like side characters, but like, I don't know. It just, it's simplistic in the best way, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just really enjoying this series, and I'm really happy I'm making this video. And it's giving me lots of happiness. Yeah, I today posted a video on TikTok talking about it was just like a photo slide presentation thing. It had my favorite rereads of the year, which is something that like I feel like no one ever talks about. You'll have to watch that video, I guess, to see. I was gonna read them, but like, nah, that's okay. I did also release today my favorite books of 2023, so check that video out as well as I also included my honorable mentions. So yeah, okay. Now I'm actually leaving. Sorry for faking you out. I'm not feeling the greatest. I'm gonna be honest with you, but I'm filming this video because honestly I feel myself just feeling a little better, knowing that I'm actually accomplishing something ish. So I finished Hard Luck. It's actually the day after. I don't think I liked this as much as the third wheel, but an aspect I did like was it had more of a concrete plot this time. It's basically Greg, in a sense, finding himself now that Rowley, his best friend, is in a relationship. In the latter part of the book, there's this whole entire, for lack of a better term, obsession with the magic 8-ball, and I definitely went through that phase as a child. Maybe everyone did. Greg kind of just keeps asking it all these questions. He's just trying to find some kind of way to live. It's really the most philosophical, I guess, so far of all of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid books. But yeah, I guess we also learn a bit more about his family, specifically on his mom's side of the family, so that's cool. Now we're getting into almost unfamiliar territory. The next book in the series is The Long Haul, which is a book that I actually owned at some point. I think I donated it, so I don't have it right now. I'll just be reading it online. But yeah, after that, I'm pretty sure is Double Down, which I also got a copy of. But after that, I'm pretty sure I haven't read any of them. So I am going to be reacting to new stuff. That's exciting. Oh, there is also a movie for The Long Haul, so I'll be sure to watch that. I don't even know why they did this movie. They didn't even make it a series. It was just this one movie with like just new people. But yeah. I also found out like a few weeks ago that there's a Diary of a Wimpy Kid musical, and the cast album was released. I feel like I can just make an entire separate video for that, because I'm intrigued. I'm definitely intrigued about that. Will it be focusing on the first book, the first two, just aspects of all of them? I have no idea. So I'll be sure to listen to that and react to it as well in another video. Probably, unless I forget or I just lose interest, I guess. I'm going to start posting Diary of a Wimpy Kid content on my TikTok page, because I'm definitely going to, I want to start promoting it like kind of early on, so people will be looking forward to the video, subconsciously at least. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'm not going to go sleep, but it's almost time to sleep. I finished The Long Haul, and this book is like one of the books that are like the most fresh in my mind, even though it's been like a pretty long time since I read it, at least like 2 years or something. But yeah, I really like this one. It's very like shenanigan filled, and it's like the first book in the series where we get to spend equal time with every single I was going to say Jefferson. I meant Heffley's, because it's a family road trip, and basically they're going on a road trip. I don't think I've really been explaining the plot of these, but yeah, so it's really fun. Now I'm going to have to watch the movie, which everyone seems to not like. I did watch the movie. I can't really remember having any specific thoughts about it, so I'll have to watch it again for this video, and also out of sheer like interest in it. But yeah, I guess that's basically it. It's also, I feel like, kind of more mature than the other ones. The dad swears in it, which I think no one ever swore before this point. There aren't like any words mentioned, but it just has like the different symbols, and it says that he swears, which is definitely different. I have the next book, Old School, on hold in Libby. This is the first book in the series that I've actually had to wait for to read, so I'll be waiting until that, and I guess in the meantime I will be watching the movie. If I hadn't filmed this video right now, I probably would have forgotten that there was a movie, so good on me, I guess. But yeah, now we're gonna go to the movie. Hi, so I never tell you the date that I film things, but I'm going to do it now. It is January 16th, and this date is important because it's the very first date that I am promoting this Diary of a Wimpy Kid video. Although I'm not saying that it's a video, but this is the first time on TikTok which I've released something Diary of a Wimpy Kid related. So that's pretty cool. But anyway, I'm here with my thoughts on Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Long Haul, the movie, the very last movie that's out at the time of me filming this, related to the Diary of a Wimpy Kid franchise. As you know, after I finish movies, it's going to make this video go way faster because I can go through books at a faster speed. Because the books are pretty short. What takes the most time out of me is the movies. So yeah, let's just start with the notes. I wrote all these notes today. I watched the film in like 2 sittings, I guess. This one was way longer. It was like about 60 minutes or something, 70 minutes, and I started the film the last time that I watched it. But yeah, it's not that good. It's not that good, and I know a lot of people agree with me on that stance. However, I did find out that Jeff Kennedy, the writer of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, actually did write this book. This movie, which does, I guess, kind of make sense because I feel like this has a lot of the heart of the original series, of the original movie franchise, like similar directing style and obviously similar writing, but like I think just with the cast being different, it's definitely a turnoff. And like we're familiar with all these faces, and then suddenly we just see new faces. It's really, really weird. Another thing that I noticed right away is I feel like even though it's funny material, in the case of the original movie franchise, they still took the material seriously. In this, I don't know, it just seems more like a parody, I guess because I've just grown to love the original cast. So yeah, that's something as well. The standout person in this, acting-wise, I don't really know. I guess the mom. I know I've seen her in something else, Alicia Silverstone. I've also seen the dad in something else, I guess. But all the kids, like, I don't know. Speaking of the kids, the relationship between Greg and, I was about to say Rowley, and Rodrick, it's just not the same as it is in the book. They don't really seem like brothers. They seem like, people that know each other, I guess. Like, Rodrick doesn't hate Greg in the books, right? But they still have kind of like a rivalry. They're not like friends. And in this one, I feel like they're not friends either, but they just don't have like strong feelings towards each other generally also, which is like not normal. At least it's different. They do have callbacks to the original movie franchise, such as a random shot of the cheese that has somehow ended up outside of an apartment that they're staying at, and a rat like takes it away or smells it, and I don't even know. And also, the Beardo family, they run a cart in the hallway of the motel that they're staying at, and then it hits the Beardo's car. That happened in the original movie. I'm not sure if it happened in the first book, but I know it happened in the first movie. So that's also kind of, I'm pretty sure, just a callback to the original movie franchise, but like it was just random and I didn't understand it, the importance of it. Also, just language-wise, specifically for Rodrick, he uses the S-word once, which was just not necessary. It's never necessary. It's a derogatory term, and it's just also it's outdated. That's the best word, I think. Yeah. I did not need that, and also he just uses Spanish words randomly too, which is okay. As in not okay. As in, I don't know if it's okay or not okay, but it's just like, why did that have to be there? This also kind of strays a lot from the book. There's a whole entire other plot point, subplot, words, where Greg is trying to go to this player expo thing to see his his favorite YouTuber. I guess they never say YouTube. They may say YouTube. I don't know. To see his like celebrity, a content creator that he enjoys. I can't remember his name, but that's a whole thing. As well as Greg being on the internet known as like the diaper kid or something because he gets a diaper stuck on his hand, and he tries to like wave it off and it becomes like a meme and all that. I think a sort of similar thing happens in another book that isn't this one, where at least he goes to save his brother from a ball pit or one of those kid playground things that you can find at restaurants. So that did happen in the books, but I don't think the diaper hand thing did happen, actually. There's only a single person of color that speaks, and that's at the Player Expo, and she's a security guard, and that's it. Like, as bad as it sounds, at least we had Chirag, and he's nowhere in sight. I guess this is different than the other movies because he isn't at school, and we don't see him with, like, any of his friends or anything. We only see Riley at the very beginning, but there's no mention of Holly, no mention of Chirag, no mention of Bryce Anderson. It's just him and the family, which I guess is the same as it is in the book, The Long Haul, but still, I guess I just wanted to see some of them just because they make the movies for me as well. And everyone is just also scared of the mom for some reason. Like, she gives them a look and then they just do what she wants, which is, like, cool, I guess. It's kind of funny. Something that this movie did have going for it was that it's just as memorable as the other movies. Maybe not just as memorable, but it is memorable. I remember specific lines from it. It may be more from the trailer than the actual movie, actually. But, like, yeah, I remember moments, which is good. It's not, like, completely... I don't think you can forget it. And I think it makes it even more memorable, changing the cast. So maybe that was just a power move on their part. That's it. I feel like this was kind of a long video, but now we're going to Old School, which is the next book. It's the 10th book, I think, in the Diary of a Wimpy series, and yeah, we're just smooth sailing from here until the most recent book, The Meltdown, which I said earlier that I have a copy of. It's right over there, so yeah. I'll definitely, hopefully be reading that. I'd say by the end of February, I should be done filming for this video if things go according to plan. So, yeah. Alright, I will see you later after I finish Old School. Hello. I'm standing up because I want to, and I want to switch it. Hello, I'm standing up because I want to, and I want to switch it up. The camera's too short, however. Let's do this instead. Bet you weren't expecting that, huh? Anyway, I haven't done transition in a while. Okay, so Old School is the next book, and I read it. It kind of made me feel the way I felt about the book, The Ugly Truth. It was just some kind of interesting subject matter that were different than the other books, and that really pulled me in. This was all about electronics, and basically in this, the mom says no electronics, as in Greg's mom, so basically the whole entire book, he doesn't get to play with any video games, although we don't really spend a lot of time with him playing video games usually in the books. We hear lots of mentionings of him playing video games. Like, I'm trying to say that we know that he does it, but we don't spend that much time with him while he's doing it. But now that he has that removed as a distraction or as a thing to do, he has to figure out how to do other things, which is kind of cool. They go to a sleepaway camp. I think that was the most interesting part of the book for sure. I think that took about like a little under half of the book. But yeah, I have specific notes. I realized that Riley, I don't think, was mentioned once in The Long Haul, which is interesting because he shows up in the very beginning of the movie The Long Haul. But yeah, I guess he doesn't go to the family field trip, so he doesn't need to be mentioned, I guess. Another note I had was that this was more family-oriented, such as The Long Haul. Especially in the earlier books, it focused on like one person and Greg's relationship with them, but now we see like him interacting with lots of other people, and this one is mainly his family, although I guess I was going to say that his family takes a backseat, but not really. There's actually another character that has a more prominent role, who is his grandpa, his dad's dad. So he joins their family. I can't remember. I think he wasn't able to pay for his retirement home, so he just had to move in with them. So yeah. There's a quote, I feel like I've been in middle school forever, and I feel like that's definitely like meta. Jeff Kennedy was definitely doing something, because like it's already the 10th book and he hasn't graduated. I don't even know what grade he's in. He's just in middle school like perpetually. It's kind of weird. There's also a new character who kind of disappears, I guess, in the latter part of the book, called Fru, who is Greg's like buddy who's in a younger grade than him. I say buddy because I don't want to say friend because that kind of sounds weird. But Greg is kind of a mentor to him. They just are supposed to hang out, and it's like through the school. But Fru ends up being like a genius and does Greg's homework for him. I feel like this has been pretty spoiler light this whole entire video, so I'm gonna try to keep with that trend for the most part. Riley and him are friends again. In the past few books, they haven't really been friends, but like they don't hang out as much. They're kind of like just he's a person that Greg does things with, but not necessarily a friend, I guess. And there's like a plot twist, which I guess I won't say, but it's pretty cool. I feel like this is the first plot twist you've had in the Diary of a Wimpy Kid like franchise. Like something happened that I wasn't expecting. Even though I've already read this book before, I forgot it. I guess it's something to do with the sleepaway camp. So be sure to read Old School for that. I also already started Double Down, which is the 11th book. I actually used to have a copy of this. I think I got it from a bookstore or a book fair back in the day, but I think I donated it, so I'm just reading it online. It's going pretty well, I guess. I found out that he literally published this book 2 days before the shutdown, March 13th, 2020, and I'm going to make a video on March 13th, 2024, saying, can't believe, like, Zooey Mom, it's already been 4 years. I think that'd be funny, and yeah. I can't believe that's an interesting coincidence. I also saw a TikTok or Instagram reel, I can't even remember when, probably sometime last week, saying that he was writing I don't even know what number, I think it's 19th book currently, so I don't think he's ever going to stop. I don't think he's ever going to stop. Speaking of authors who I don't think will ever stop, Richard Paul Evans, who is the author of the Michael Vey series, which I have an entire video on, released another book. So the video that I made the book that I made the video on was called The Parasite, and I thought that was going to be the last one, but there's another one called The Traitor, and that one is also released, so I hope to either definitely read it, maybe make a video about it. I just thought I'd say something else, mention something else besides Diary of a Wimpy Kid, because I'm sure we're all kind of getting tired. But I'm almost done. I have, I think or whatever it's called, the most recent book, I think it's called The Meltdown, but I'm not sure. No Brainer, sorry. I know Meltdown is one of them, but No Brainer. I think this is the 18th, this is the most recent one, so I have 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Honestly, I didn't have to count that on my fingers, but also, I feel like I can probably finish all these if I really want to, and if I didn't have any homework, like in a week, like one a day about. I mean, there are 8 books, but I already am almost done with Double Down, so I probably could have finished that today and started another one, but, yeah, I could probably have finished, like, knocked it off in a week, but yeah, I do have homework, so hopefully, best case scenario, I was thinking of making this video my next week video, so, I mean, I have until Friday. I want to be releasing on Friday, so I don't even know what video I'm making for this Friday, but at least I have more than a week to think about it and edit it and read the book, so I think it'll be fine. Because that's, what, like 12 days. I have 12 days, I think, to read the 8 books, I'm pretty sure. I can do it. Maybe I should stop talking and just continue reading. That's what I'll do instead. Bye. Hi, it's the next day, and I'm filming again, because I finished another book, Double Down. I told you this would go fast. This was interesting. I definitely remember, like, the earlier parts of the books, but as it goes on, I just forget things. Really, it's the beginning and the end of it, which kind of makes sense because I'm taking a class called AP Psych this year. I'm pretty sure you've heard of it. I'm taking AP Psych this year, and I learned about something called the serial position effect, where we're more likely to remember things at the beginning and end of things, of a list or whatever, so I guess it's the same with, like, books, maybe not, I don't know, maybe there's another reason, but yeah, I remembered, like, the thing about the making a movie, as well as him, like, thinking that he was on a TV show. I definitely have that phase in my life too, so maybe I'm influenced by Diary of a Wimpy Kid more than I'm willing to admit. But this one was kind of like not as interesting as Old School for sure. The days really feel shorter, and like it's just following him day by day. There isn't really like that big of a plot. Yeah. And also, I think I'm scared of geese now. At least I think they're scary because, I don't know, they're so loud in this book. They say honk and I'm scared. My heartbeat goes faster, so yeah, but those are all my takeaways. I'm scared of geese now, and it was random. I don't even know what the next book is. I may try to start it and maybe even finish it today, because today, basically, I had my last midterms today, so I don't really have any homework, as in I don't have any homework. but once I get back to school, as in tomorrow, I will be having homework. So this is like one of the few days in the whole entire year where I'm guaranteed not to have homework. So I might as well just do whatever I want. The next book is The Getaway. Is it available? It is. So I'm going to borrow it right now and I'm going to read it. I don't know if I'll finish it today. I feel like I may have read this one, but I barely remember it. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. It was kind of funny. I feel like all of them are pretty funny, so this like didn't really stand out. But I guess I'd say this was funnier than Old School. Maybe. Okay. I also need to start editing this video if I want to release it next week. Anyway, bye. Alright, hi, it's a couple days later. My week has definitely improved, which is so weird to me. It really proves that like every day is like its own little story, and one story doesn't define another. Anyway, I read The Getaway, and I really like this one. It's kind of similar to how I'd say The Ugly Truth made me feel, even more than Old School, because it's just like, it's refreshing kind of. We see the half leads go to an actual new place for once, and they basically go on a vacation. I don't even know where they are. I don't know if they even specify it. But yeah, they just go to a place that the mom and dad actually went for their honeymoon for their family vacation, and they haven't been on a vacation thus far, I guess, outside of long haul. Although I'm not sure if you could consider that a vacation because they didn't really go anywhere, but I just have a few notes. Greg actually allows himself to have a little fun. He's saying, and I have to admit, I was having fun. I really think that Greg's kind of hardwired to be negative. Maybe he's depressed. He just doesn't really, he doesn't look at life with a positive outlook, and lots of things don't go his way, so I feel like that's definitely impacted his just general mindset on life. But we just see him just having fun, like smiling for a change, which is cool. I'd say Manny may be my favorite character because he's just iconic. He does all the things, and he's so funny. And all the characters are really funny, but yeah, if Manny wasn't here, I probably would drop the series. I probably would have dropped the series. And I think this is the most interested I've been in a book in the Diary of a Wimpy Kid franchise so far. Maybe it's because it's like one of the books I don't remember a lot. I feel like I might have read it before, but maybe not. If anything, I may have read it like during a Barnes & Noble visit, like real quick. But, I mean, since I read it like all in one sitting, it was a little harder to digest it. But yeah, this time I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I don't really have any other thoughts besides that. I guess another one is that I think this would be a good movie, even better, a better movie than The Long Haul has a potential to be. Like, I know people don't like The Long Haul movie, and I don't really either, but I'm just saying, like, it would be cool, like a different location. It'd be nice. I hope Greg graduates middle school eventually, because that's a problem. He has been held back, like, how long has it been? Because, like, I feel like he's been having, like, multiple Halloweens. That's, like, definitely a holiday that they celebrate, like, they've celebrated in multiple novels, so, like, what's going on, bud? Why aren't you graduating? But yeah, we only have a few left, so I think I can definitely release this next week. I've been promoting it a lot on TikTok, so, yeah, it would be cool to finally reveal that I actually have a video about it. I guess that's basically it. I have the next book on. I'm not on hold. What's the word? Maybe it is on hold. I don't have access to it right now because someone else is reading it. But as soon as that person returns, then I can have access to it. I can read it. But yeah, we are nearing the end of the month. And this month has been pretty good in reading, in terms of reading, because I've just been reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid books and those kind of books. I don't know why they wouldn't, but I feel like this is a good way to start the year. Little like motivation kind of, to show that I can read lots of books. So far I've read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've read 8 books this month, I'm pretty sure, unless I forgot some. So like 8 or more, which is pretty good. My goal is like 10 per month, 120 per year. I think that'd be cool. Oh wow, I need to charge this camera. It's only 31 minutes. Sorry, I've only been filming for this video and then I keep... Okay, I'm gonna have to charge it like tonight. But I'm here with my thoughts about the Meltdown. It was pretty good. This is the only book so far that has stayed in a specific season. It's only like a few months instead of like a year or something. So yeah, I'm also wondering like what grade Greg is in, because is he just in middle school like perpetually? There's also kind of a callback or something that was established in a previous book that is kind of referenced to in this book, which is different than books in the past. Basically, in old school, through his mother, the town starts doing this thing where they don't use electronics. I think it's on the weekends, or at least it's like for 48, right, it's like a 48-hour period. And now in this book we find out that Greg every single weekend now has to have like no electronics for either the whole weekend or just like Saturday or Sunday. So that's pretty cool. It's like one of the few callbacks from a previous book. Something that's kind of been mentioned in previous books as well, that was a bit expanded on, or at least we spent more time on it, was the rivalry between the top and bottom half of the street that Greg lives on, which is called Surrey Street. They kind of have a rivalry and they have like an epic snowball fight here, and it was pretty cool. It was an enjoyable read. I only read it in 2 days. I actually read it while I was working. I wasn't working while reading it, but like I don't need to get fired. It's okay. That's okay. I shouldn't have said that. It's fine. I'm pretty sure it's fine. Anyway, the next one is called Wrecking Ball. And when I saw that title, I was like, for a second, wait, have all these books been named have the same name as a song? And I don't think that's the case. Well, that's kind of an interesting name, Wrecking Ball. It's kind of like definitely negative. I wonder what's going to happen, because I don't think I've ever read this book. Parts of the Meltdown kind of seem similar or familiar to me, so I think there may be a chance that I've actually read this before. I just can't remember it. I had read it before, I just can't remember it, but I'm pretty sure I've never read Wrecking Ball, so I hope I enjoyed that. And we are getting to the end of this video. I didn't end up releasing a video last week, which is fine, I guess, but I hope for this week the video will just be Diary of a Wimpy Kid, because I'm almost done with it. And if not, I do have another video that I can put out instead. But yeah, okay, I'll see you later. The next book is Wrecking Ball. I'll be back as soon as I'm back. We're going to talk about 2 books at the same time because I've been like procrastinating from this video, and I ended up reading another book. So we're talking about Wrecking Ball, and we're talking about the one that I just finished today, which I can't remember the name of, which I never can, The Deep End. There it is. Wrecking Ball, I thought it was really interesting, and it was very plot-based. Basically, it's all about Greg and his family inheriting lots of money from a dead relative. I'm sorry, I'm kind of going through the plot. I mean, this is kind of spoiler video, like light spoilers, but this is kind of heavy-ish spoilers. And they actually were thinking of moving, and then they did it because a wrecking ball basically destroyed their house, or something like that. I wish they had moved. It would have been fun if they moved. I don't understand why you got me excited like that, Jeff. But yeah, this is one of the more plot-based books in the series. Like, there's only one plot, which is them moving. Also, like, getting renovation on their house. They're basically trying to figure out how to spend the money that they got from the dead relative. I think it's, like, the mom's aunt or something. There weren't any, like, B-plots or anything, or, like, random things that were happening. We didn't see Rally at all, really. It was just the family, mostly. I feel like since the long haul, Jeff has definitely focused more in on the family. I would not say it was funny, though, although it was entertaining. It was just, like, I can't remember a single time that I laughed, and I appreciated this series for how funny it was, and now, like, this book, The Wrecking Ball, as well as the book I'm going to talk about after, they weren't very funny. Manny is just Manny, and he literally built his own section of the house for himself, and he has parties. He's Manny. I can't... I don't know about that kid. And then Greg, because he thinks he's going to move, he decides to actually ask out someone, and then he gets rejected. So that's something new as well. So yeah, those are all the thoughts I had on that one. It was pretty interesting. Especially as I'm graduating, I'm thinking a lot about change too. So yeah, it's interesting hearing from another perspective, someone just changing, moving. So yeah, okay. And then we have The Deep End, which I finished today. I did not really like it. I feel like this is the first book in a while, which took me like multiple days to read through. I just wasn't interested. I wasn't motivated to go back. And I really, every single time I opened it on Libby, I was like, oh, how long is the chapter? Because I just want to get it over with. It was like not interesting. Basically, they are going on a camping trip. It's really weird, the title also, like The Deep End. They go in the pool like maybe once. I guess it's like a metaphorical deep end. But yeah, so yeah, they go on a camping trip and they just it's just like another family trip, kind of like The Long Haul, but like make it boring. It wasn't funny, as I mentioned before. It also didn't have to be so long. I know like every book is the same length, but like I feel like I didn't get anything out of this book. I'm the same as I was at the beginning than I was at the end. So yeah, those are all my thoughts. We are getting to the last few books. We have Big Shot, we have Loaded Diaper, then we have whatever the book is, No Brainer, and that's it. That's it. So I'm almost done with this video. Hopefully it'll come out next week. I took like a 2-week hiatus. I didn't post anything on YouTube, although I did post things on TikTok. I guess I posted some shorts on YouTube, but not on, like, not full videos. But yeah, I think I can probably release this next week. Maybe. I definitely need to start editing it. I think I'm actually going to take a break. I'm not going to read the Big Shot like right away. There's a book that was in both my January and February wrap up, which I haven't finished yet. You'll have to guess which one. Which I want to finish before I start Big Shot. Because yeah, it's fine to read one book at a time sometimes. So yeah, that's pretty much it. We are getting to the end. I'm so excited. Gonna take a bit of a break, although you wouldn't realize because I don't like put dates or anything on in this video. Hi, I'm actually filming in the day for once. We have a snow day today, so I'm filming during the day. Okay, I just said the same sentence. It's actually snowing. Obviously, it's a snow day. Do you want to see it? Too bad. I don't want to give away my location. Anyway, today we are talking about the thus far second or third to last book in the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series, although I'm sure it'll continue after Hummus. I think it's third to last. Loaded Diaper. No Brainer. Fourth to last, I think. Anyway, it's called Big Shot, and I read it. I only read it in 2 days, which is pretty good. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm almost done with this series, at least so far, before another book comes out. And yeah, I mentioned it before, there's another book coming out called Hummus. I think I'll probably just make a video specifically for that book, or maybe not a video at all, but I can't wait to like release this video until Hummus comes out, because I just don't want to. It's literally out in October, and it's literally, what's the date? It's February. No. Okay, but I enjoyed this book. It was also very plot-centered. I feel like since Long Haul, we've just continued with the more plot-centered books. Like, there's one central plot. This also kind of centered in with Greg's relationship with his mom. Basically, we follow him trying to play a sport. He ends up picking basketball, and his mom has experience with basketball. So it's all about their dynamic, although, like, basketball is definitely, like, the main character more than Greg / his mom. But we just focus on... Those are the two people that we see the most often. We also do see like a lot of new characters, none that I remember the names of, but yeah, this was just like an area of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid universe that we've never like went through. Sports. So it's kind of interesting. I wonder, yeah, what made Jeff decide to write this book, write it about sports, this book? Because yeah, like I wonder if he just picks a topic out of a hat, because yeah, sometimes I don't understand. There are just so many different things he's kind of covered. So it's cool. It's cool. It also had like a pretty happy ending. Like it was actually a happy ending, and that usually doesn't happen. It usually ends with just like some kind of funny thing, and then that's it. But yeah, I didn't mind the happy ending. We have 2 more books left. Diaper Overload and No Brainer. I'm going to take a break again. I don't want to be only reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid books, especially like back to back, so I'm going to take a beat, and then I'll be back after I finish. I think I want to finish one book, and then I'll start Loaded Diaper, but yeah, that's what I thought about Big Shot. We're almost done with this video. Thanks for staying this long. I really appreciate it. I'll see you soon. Hello. We are getting to the end for real this time, but I just remembered earlier today that I haven't read a few books. I'm here talking about Diaper Overload, but there are other books that I haven't read. I'm looking them up right now, but yeah, they're like books that aren't about the plot of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, but like they're still written by Jeff Kenney and they take place in the same universe. I'm pretty sure. When I'm searching it up right now, it doesn't show up, but so maybe it's not part of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series, but I remember at least owning one. So I'm searching up Jeff Kenney right now on Barnes & Noble. Maybe it was discontinued or something, I don't know. But there's like a yeah, here it is. The Wimpy Kid Do-It-Yourself book. I used to own that book, and I don't anymore. But that's going to take too much work, isn't it? Because, first of all, I've done it already because I used to have it. So I don't want to do it myself again. Not that I haven't reread books, but, like, I don't want to buy a copy of it just to do it myself. Like, it kind of defeats the purpose if I'm just reading it and not actually doing it, so I'm going to have to say no for that. And then the movie, the Wimpy Kid movie diary, How Greg Heffley Went Hollywood. 2012, okay, so it's pretty old. I don't even know what it consists of, but I know it's not like, it doesn't have to do that much with like Greg and his family, or like it doesn't, it's like, it's not in the series. Because I just searched up the website, and it was not there, and neither was the Do-It-Yourself book, so scratch that, reverse it, I'm not gonna read those books. I was considering reading them, but I wouldn't, because Jeff Kennedy doesn't even consider them part of it, so why should I? But yeah, we're talking about Diaper Overload, which is the second to last book that has thus far been published in the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series, and I really enjoyed this one. It was all about Rodrick and his band. There's basically something called the Battle of the Bands coming up, and his band is trying to get prepared for that, and it just follows them. This felt pretty short. I read it in 2 days, but like I was just interested, especially since I'm a musician. I think that definitely got me interested more. But yeah, it wasn't like that funny or anything. It was just like I was interested in seeing what was going to happen next. Especially when I write original music as well, and I've considered for a very long time now to like potentially publish my music, to like put it out in the open, and I guess Loaded Diaper, which is Rodrick's band, is kind of considering doing the same thing in this book. As for the title, it is both a song that they wrote, Loaded Diaper, the band wrote, as well as an idea that Greg has of the title of a book that he would write after Loaded Diaper, I guess, quits or disbands, and he was like doing a tell-all biography about them. He had an idea for the book being Loaded Diaper, or Diaper Overload. Based on the cover alone, I thought this would be more of a book when he himself was in the band, like he would be a part of the band. He is, kind of spoiler, like near the end of the book, but like it's not that big, a big part of it, so like it's not about him being in the band, like at all. It was really only the plot of them like trying to figure out what to do in order to get prepared for the Battle of the Bands, as I mentioned. So, and I think that's what made me kind of more interested, because I didn't get distracted, or like there weren't things in the book that went away from the main thing, which I appreciate. So it was hard to get distracted, I guess. We also learned a little bit about the members of the band, which is the first time we have. I feel like they've been a band since the first book, if not the second book, and we barely know them at all. We get to know their names, although I can't remember them. One of them ends up going to school for robotics. One of them is thinking about college applications, which is kind of relatable because I'm like kind of in the midst of that as well. So it was interesting seeing a perspective from like a high schooler when reading this book. It would be interesting if Jeff would ever consider writing a book or a book series in the perspective of Rodrick, because he does have one in the perspective of Rowley. So that would be, I wonder if he has any of that, like if he's thinking of doing that, because I think that would be a little more relatable to me as like a graduating senior this year. The next book, and the last book thus far out, it's too far away, I actually have a physical copy of, so this is going to be my first reading of a physical copy of a Diary of a Wimpy Kid book since this video has started, so it'll be fun to actually get to read it on paper instead of on the screen. So yeah, we did pretty well this month in terms of reading. Not that you may not care, but I'm telling you anyways. A little of that was because of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, but I also read a few like pretty good books, so look out for the February wrap up. One more video to go in the series. I can't wait, and I'm pretty sure you can't either, because it's been too long. It's been too long, so let's get on with it. Hey, first let's get the elephant out of the room. Let's address the elephant in the room. That's the phrase. I shaved. Moving right along. I finished No Brainer. I have it right over there. I should have gotten it before I started this video. 1 second. Here it is, No Brainer, the final as of right now, Diary of a Wimpy Kid book. At least the most recently published Diary of a Wimpy Kid book. As I mentioned earlier, there's another one coming out called Hot Mess in October. But anyway, yeah, I read it, and I'm so happy because that means I can potentially release this video relatively soon. So this is focused all about school. It basically follows, I don't think he goes to home a single time. Like, home is not mentioned. I'm not sure. I guess his mom is mentioned. I guess his dad is mentioned, yeah. His family is mentioned, but like, yeah, we never go home with him. It's just all at school, and like, basically this book is about how terrible his school is, which is kind of interesting. I would not have thought that from like the title, like right away at least, like no brainer. I guess something that they mentioned is how like low test scores are in his school, but that's not like the main focus. After I finished this book, I also read the blurb in the back, and it literally like spoils it. It's only like in the last, like, I want to say fourth of the book that it's revealed that the school is in danger of shutting down. And what actually ends up happening is he goes to a new school, and then he ends up coming back because someone like pays a lot of money. I don't really like that. The same thing happened with what's it, I guess, Wrecking Ball, I want to say, where they are potentially moving and they just decide not to. Like, Jeff, like, holds, like, a carrot in front of us. Change, and then he just takes it away. I don't appreciate it. If I'm being honest, I don't appreciate it. This is the 18th Diary of a Wimpy Kid book. Wow. Now I can say I've read an 18-book series, and then when people ask, what series, I won't say. It's like a low-key indie, I won't say. But, yeah, this was fine. It was interesting, but like, I don't know, it wasn't very funny. It was just cool to like learn about school, learn about his experience with school, I guess, as like a full-time student myself. But yeah, lots of like new characters, I guess. Like, he's like the main character, and we see like some of like people that he goes to school with like kind of come in and out. Riley is like mentioned maybe 4 times in all, if not less. So yeah, it's really like it's like a solo book, but it's also like, I feel like the main characters are just like the school classmates in general. Like, I don't really, a lot of the accounts, things didn't necessarily specifically happen to him. It just like experiences within his school. The like amount of things that happen to a school are really like funny. Not really funny, but because I didn't laugh. Really, like, they know no bounds. It's very elaborate, I guess, and I wonder how Mr. Kenny like thought of all these like different scenarios. But yeah, lots of long noses in this book. I don't know if they've always been there, but I don't think they have. They mentioned something called let me see if I can find it. I can't remember the name, but it's like this. It's this thing that a lunch lady accidentally made, which is basically a tofu bar, or a tofu hot dog dipped in chocolate. And it's supposed to be good, and I kind of tempted to try it now, because like tofu doesn't really taste like anything, so like put fudge on it and it's basically just like fudge. And it's called the fudge dog, and yeah, just a tofu hot dog with fudge. Something also that has never happened in any book, which did happen for like a little bit at least. Greg actually dated someone. He dated someone that he met at the new school named Sophie. And then they broke up like after a week or something. So it was short-lived, but that was kind of interesting. It happened like in the very last few pages. But yeah, I don't know. This book is $15. I did pay half for it because it was 50% off. It was Black Friday, so like $7.50. Is it worth $7.50? Maybe not. Maybe not, because I've been reading the majority of these for free. And yeah, I use $7.50 on this book. Just for a video, I'm better than that. I'll probably just donate this, honestly, because I don't want to keep books that I don't like or I don't want to read. So, or that I don't want to keep. So yeah. But yeah. I'm so happy we finished it. I don't even know what I'm going to do in terms of like a ranking. I did want to rank them, but there are so many, and maybe I can rank them while editing this video, because it's going to take like at least like a few days, if not like a month or two, to definitely not a few days, because I'm not going to like consecutively edit, if I'm being honest to myself. So it's probably gonna take a little bit to edit it, so maybe like while I'm watching the various videos, I can be on the lookout for like books that like I really thought were really good, or books that I thought were really bad, and then maybe at the end of this video, the very end, I will rank them. But Yeah, thank you so much for watching this far. It's a long video, but I'm glad you stayed until the end. And this is not going to be the end of Diary of a Wimpy Kid content, because I'm making a video reacting, listening to the Diary of a Wimpy Kid musical, because apparently there is one. And I have not listened to any of it, and I just thought it would be interesting to do that. Best case scenario, after this video, I become known as like the Diary of a Wimpy Kid guy on YouTube, and then the people will come back to watch the musical reaction. I'll see you later. Thank you so much again. Be sure to like and subscribe. Tell me, did you like this kind of video? It did take a lot of work to edit and film, but like, if you like it, that it's definitely worth it. I kind of want to do something similar to a series of unfortunate events, because that's like one of my favorite ever TV shows, and I own almost all of the books, so I kind of want to, once I own all the books, maybe make a video reading the book and then watching the TV show. Maybe I can make it a single video or a playlist. Who knows? Yeah, okay, let's stop rambling. Thank you so much. I'll see you later. Yeah, I'm serious. We're done. I set you free. Is it worth $7.50? Maybe not. Maybe not. I didn't get anything out of this book. I'm the same as I was at the beginning than I was at the end. He's not a good person. He isn't. And hands down, I can say this is the worst Diary of a Wimpy Kid movie I've ever watched. It's a hate review more than anything. I think so far this is the least memorable Diary of a Wimpy Kid book for me. Yeah, it's not that good. It's not that good, and I know a lot of people agree with me on that stance. However, yeah. And also, I think I'm scared of geese now.